This evening on Fox 26 KNPN, there are new developments in yesterday's double homicide on Safari Drive involving other locations. We'll have the latest in that investigation. And we'll take you live to the Republican National Convention this evening.
And we're seeing quite a few clouds around the area keeping us cool because of some rain to the north. As this rain moves out, we will see some much hotter conditions across the area. I'll tell you how hot it's going to feel. Coming up is your news, and Fox 26 KNPN starts now.
Live from St. Joseph and Buchanan County to Andrew, DeKalb, and Donovan counties, this is News Press Now at 5 on Fox 26 KNPN.
Good evening on a Monday, and thanks for joining us here on Fox 26 KNPN. I'm Bob Heater. Police have 4 people in custody tonight after that shooting that killed 2 men yesterday morning on St. Joseph's East Side on Safari Drive. Authorities identified the 2 victims as Kevin Viles Melendez and Raymond Gonzalez Ortiz. Police made 2 of those arrests at a house at the corner of 13th and Edmond Streets last night. Officers also investigated a shots fired call on Delaware Street today, which they believe is related to yesterday's shooting. Police found a black Suburban as well as the house there that both had several bullet holes in it. Officers also found shell casings on the street, and they think that gunfire happened last night.
During the course of their investigation and making arrests, they did seize several firearms that they believe are connected to this the string of events that occurred between yesterday and last night.
Now, police do not know if of any injuries that were suffered from the shots fired call on Delaware. Detectives are still investigating the aspects of that shooting case, and no charges have officially been filed. We now know the identities of 2 people found dead in a vehicle Saturday night in Trenton, Missouri. Police say the bodies belong to a mother and a daughter from Trenton. Autopsies will be performed to determine the cause of death for Elizabeth LaFollette, 24 years old, and her 11-month-old daughter, Shannon LaFollette. Trenton Police Chief Tommy Wright says that foul play is not suspected in the case, but a cause won't be finally determined for 6 to 8 weeks. The mother and daughter were discovered Saturday night in a vehicle parked at the McDonald's restaurant in Trenton. Wright says the air conditioner was not on in the vehicle, and it's really not clear if heat did play a role in those 2 deaths. It has been a dangerous day on the highways of northwest Missouri. The Missouri State Highway Patrol reports 2 separate fatality accidents. The first one occurred this morning about 10:30, about 5 miles north of Trenton on Route A, when a 67-year-old Princeton, Missouri man drove off the side of the road, overcorrected, and then the vehicle went into the opposing ditch where it overturned several times. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt. Another fatal accident occurred on 71 Highway north of Maryville just after noon. That crash, which was just east of Gray's truck stop, involved a car and a semi-tractor trailer. 1 person was killed. No other details are available at news time. Marcus Payton is charged with assaulting a St. Joseph police sergeant. An officer made a routine traffic stop on May 3rd because Payton was speeding. When the police supervisor was assisting the officer, he was assaulted by Payton. Last Thursday, Payton was back in court claiming that the court had no jurisdiction to try him. Well, the judge overruled Payton's motion, saying the court did have jurisdiction and ordered him to be returned to court for a preliminary hearing July 26th. Baltimore, Maryland Police Lieutenant Brian Rice has been acquitted of all charges in the Freddie Gray death case. A circuit judge made that ruling this morning. Rice was the highest ranking officer of 6 charged in the death of Gray. This same judge acquitted other officers, Edward Nero and Caesar Goodwin. 25-year-old Gray died in April of last year, 1 week after he had suffered a spinal injury while in police custody. All of the officers involved have pleaded not guilty. Baton Rouge is a city that desperately needs healing and peace on its streets. A former Marine sprayed police officers with an AR-15 style rifle. The gunfire killed 3, while a 4th is still tonight fighting for his life in a hospital. Emily Schmidt has the latest from Louisiana.
Investigators are looking into the strange world of Gavin Long, who gunned down 3 Baton Rouge police officers on his 29th birthday before officers were able to kill him. Officials say he wanted to kill cops.
His prey was those police officers or any police officer that would have been in the area.
Long, who legally changed his name to Cosmo Sedepenra last year, made postings online saying, quote, "Fighting back was the only way to bring social change." Meanwhile, fallen officers Montrell Jackson, Matthew Gerald, and Brad Garofalo are being remembered for their service and dedication. Listen to a longtime friend of Jackson's.
And I've watched him at football games and parades and just being out in the community, and every time he does the right thing.
The shootout comes nearly 2 weeks after the controversial deaths of Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge and Philando Castile in Minnesota, both African-American men killed by police. Monday morning, Attorney General Loretta Lynch vowed to help heal rifts.
Now is the time to ensure that every American, everyone, under the sheltering arm of our Constitution, feels respected, feels supported, feels safe.
In the wake of this attack and the recent murder of 5 officers in Dallas, numerous police departments around the country say they are taking extra precautions for personnel. Reporting from Baton Rouge, I'm Emily Schmidt.
Now, the gunman who shot those 6 Baton Rouge officers was from Kansas City, Missouri area. This is Gavin Long's most recent family home and his former high school in Grandview. A former classmate said Long, a former Marine, converted to Islam 3 years ago. Long had rented a car July 12th in KC, drove to Dallas, then to Baton Rouge, where he opened fire on police. He died from police gunfire on his birthday. Neighbors' reaction was mixed, from shock to sadness.
Who expects that, I don't know what to say.
Sad. It's sad for the police to be shot, and it's sad for innocent people to be shot by the police. It's all just sad.
And one deputy is still in critical condition. The other 2 have wounds not considered life-threatening. Mourners booed French officials in Nice during a ceremony for the recent terror attacks today. The prime minister was booed before a moment of silence with the crowd. Hecklers shouted, "Resign," and "Murderer." 84 people died last Thursday after a Tunisian-born man drove a 19-ton delivery truck over a mile through the packed Bastille Day celebrants. Many French see the terror incidents as a failure of President Francois Hollande's socialist government coalition. This is the 3rd in the country in the last 18 months. Well, we had a pretty decent weekend weather-wise. Everybody, Molly and everybody, Angela did a great job.
It was really hot yesterday.
It was pretty warm.
Yeah, we had some 100-degree heat indexes
I
around
was
here.
mowing grass last night with headlights because I waited really late to start mowing. It was still darn hot.
Did you have one of those headlamps? Did you have one of those headlamps?
No, I got them on the front of the I got
great.
a pretty good sized yard.
That's great. Well, we got some relief today because let's take a look at Storm Tracker 26. We've had rain up to the north most of the day. You can see that dark discoloration right in the middle. Still seeing some showers up to the north. Maryville got really lucky. They got a bunch of rain, but most of that will make its way towards the south here. We do have some flood warnings along those rivers, but what we're talking about here is all of these clouds today have kept us really cool and not so humid across the region. So outside right now, 89 feels like 97. Like I said, it feels cool today compared to what we're going to see. Feels like 100 in Halls, feels like 99 at the airport in Kansas City. So it is starting to warm up there. This rain did add a little, we got a shower here as well, add a little bit humidity to the area here. And we are going to continue to see our humidity increase. We're also going to see those temperatures crank up here over the next couple of days. So we are in a heat advisory. That's the brown. This pink has been expanded from Kansas City out towards our south here. This is Platte County, so not far from us. This is an excessive heat warning. So they're calling for a string of days here close to 105, 110, and I don't think we will be that much far away from that either here. We're in the brown, but this is until Friday at 7 p.m. Very warm, very humid, and it's going to vary each one of these days. Anywhere from 105 to 110 will be possible. So warm and muggy conditions will continue. You see the clouds are clearing up out there, so it's going to be pretty uncomfortable this evening. Dangerously hot conditions for the rest of the week, and we will see our temperatures, not including the humidity, get close to 100 degrees here. I'll tell you what to expect over the next couple of days, and if there's any relief in sight coming up here in about 10 minutes. Bob?
Thanks, Christian. The Republican National Convention kicked off today in Cleveland, Ohio, and Joey Parker from our sister station, KMIZ, has the latest from the convention. Joey, what can you tell us about all the excitement at the Grand Old Parties convention so far?
Well, Bob, that is certainly the big news out of the convention today is the anti-Trump movement. They made their voices heard, well, at least as best they could. Those voices were drowned out by loud music to ensure that a vote tally couldn't be taken. Now, Donald Trump seems to have won over the Republican establishment, but he still has detractors in the party. In fact, not every elected Republican in Missouri is in full support of Trump. If they are, they certainly aren't giving any ringing endorsements. Now, I've tried but never gotten an endorsement for Trump from U.S. Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri or Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler. Now, Congressman Sam Graves, who of course represents the St. Joseph area, is here. But most Republican lawmakers are saying that they'll be at home campaigning for the primary and the general election. We'll see how that turns around after Donald Trump takes his party's nomination, as it is expected to go. We'll continue to monitor the events and go back outside to check on the protesters, which so far has been a peaceful protest with no major problems so far. I'm Joey Parker reporting live from Cleveland at the Republican National Convention. Bob?
All right, thanks, Joey. Appreciate that update. President Obama awarded the military's highest honor possible to a hero of the Vietnam War today. Quite a story. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Charles Kettles received that medal nearly 50 years later after he saved the lives of 44 fellow soldiers in 1967 by flying wounded soldiers in and out of a battlefield in his helicopter many times. Obama called Kettles' story a wonderful inspiration, and that the takeaway from his bravery is not just a creed for our soldiers, but should be a creed for everyone.
A soldier who was there said, "That day Major Kettles became our John Wayne." With all due respect to John Wayne, he couldn't do what Chuck Kettles did.
And Kettles, who was 37 at the time of that battle, hails from Michigan. He previously served in Korea, Japan, and Thailand. Lieutenant Colonel Kettles went on to develop an aviation management program at Eastern Michigan University College of Technology, and he also worked for Chrysler Pentastar upon his return to the United States. He is now 86 years old. Still ahead, St. Joseph's Aquatic Park was closed once again today. We'll tell you what led to closure number 2.
And we're getting a little relief from all these clouds and the rain that's been up towards the north, but it's about to get real hot, real humid across the area. I'll tell you what to expect over the next 5 to 7 days. Coming up next.